coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
This is disgusting. What happened here is despicable, and it's not only offensive to this church, it's offensive to this community.
More than a week after vandals hit a Holt Summit church, new answers for the community. Callaway County Sheriff Clay Chisholm now says 4 teenagers are in custody related to this incident. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us today. It's a story that's drawn a lot of attention here in mid-Missouri. KOMU 8's Ashley Wright heard from the Callaway County Sheriff today about these new developments. She joins us now in the newsroom. Ashley? A big day in Jefferson City as Governor Mike Parson is sworn in for a second term. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, rather. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us. Our teams in Jefferson City are standing by to bring you that story, as well as a look ahead at how state officials are planning to balance the budget this year. But first, in Columbia, the school board is about to meet to discuss whether to bring students back into the classroom. KOMU 8's Annabelle Thorpe is live at that meeting. But first, KOMU 8's Lauren Schwenker talked to an infectious disease doctor who says it's safe for students to return. She joins us now in the newsroom with the latest. Lauren?
And we cannot go into the holiday season, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, with this same kind of attitude.
Well, we are running out of ways to say grim milestone, but here we are again as COVID-19 cases climb in the first few days of December, and that's before knowing the extent of a Thanksgiving spike.
Just the word of a police officer doesn't really carry the weight that it used to.
6 months since a Pettis County Sheriff's deputy shot and killed Hannah Pfizer. What we've learned about the case after digging through the documents. Plus, the next step toward a new indoor football practice facility for the Tigers. This is KOMU 8 News after the game. Okay, thanks, Matt. Coming up, UPS is telling some companies to stop sending packages. Why the company says it's having a hard time delivering.
10 years, and all of a sudden it just went up in smoke.
How one Columbia woman is doing after making a narrow escape. That's coming up. Ahead for us tonight, a dream 20 years in the making for the Mizzou Tigers. The next step toward a new indoor facility.
When you think of elections, you might think mostly of races for president or governor. Not so fast, though. The Boone County Commission has a hand in many things from recycling management to health orders. A look at the candidates coming up.
Well, the temperatures in the next couple days.
In local elections, it might be easy to skip over a race with a 6-time incumbent facing a political unknown, but this one caught our eye. We found out we knew very little about one candidate who could potentially represent Missouri on Capitol Hill. The story of that candidate who has been absent for much of the election season when we come back. It's a case that raised a lot of questions here in mid-Missouri. What happened leading up to the death of Hannah Pfizer? A Pettis County Sheriff's deputy shot and killed Pfizer in mid-June after he says she threatened to shoot him. But Pfizer wasn't armed, and the deputy did not have a body camera or a dash camera. Over the past 6 months, KOMU 8 dug through the case, trying to figure out why deputies in the county weren't wearing cameras. What our team found and what's changed in Pettis County in the last 6 months. That's coming right after we come back. We've been talking about it for months, and as we speak, Pfizer's vaccine is on the move. And by this time tomorrow, health officials say they expect the vaccine to be in all 50 states. Good evening, everyone. I'm Emily Spain. Thanks for joining us. This morning, crews at Pfizer's plant in Michigan, they packed those vaccines with dry ice, loaded up the first boxes onto those trucks, and then those trucks headed off to the airports around the country. That all came just hours after the head of the CDC gave the green light today for Pfizer's vaccine, which officially cleared the way for vaccinations to start. CDC Director Robert Redfield said he was, quote, proud to sign the recommendation. The CDC's approval and the FDA's emergency use authorization come after months of testing and research. And health officials say after months of research, they want everyone to get this vaccine.
I think there have been few, if any, vaccines that have ever been subjected to this level of scrutiny. So if you want to look at the facts, I think you should be very reassured. Put aside all of the noise and, yeah, all of the skepticism that's born of potential interference from some source or another. That did not determine the outcome.
It's important to note this week's shipments only include 2.9 million doses of the vaccine. So for context, if every single dose was sent to just Missouri, less than half of Missourians would be able to get their first dose in the first round. So still lots of vaccinations need to be made and distributed. Officials recommend that healthcare workers and long-term care facility residents be the first to get the shot, but most Americans will not receive the vaccine until next year. Health officials are urging Americans to not let their guards down yet.
We need to have immunized about 75 or 80% of the U.S. population before herd immunity can really be established. We hope to reach that point between the month of May and the month of June. It is, however, critical that most of the American people decide and accept to take the vaccine.
In the meantime, officials say everyone, vaccinated or not, should keep wearing masks and social distancing. Last week, Missouri officials said the state will start giving this round of vaccines on Wednesday or Thursday. When it comes to the general population, state officials have not said yet when that group can get it. Dr. Randall Williams said it should be available to most Missourians by this coming May, but it's unclear if that will happen. Nationally, experts say that depends on how soon other vaccines are approved and produced. But in Missouri, healthcare workers and staff are up first for the vaccine. Long-term healthcare residents and staff will be also among the first to get it. From there, essential workers and people at higher risk of COVID-19 complications will be next. After that, any other Missourians who have not already been vaccinated can get it. Health officials say younger, relatively healthy people can still get the vaccine. Across the state, Missouri added nearly 2,700 new cases in the last 24 hours. The state also added 8 new deaths, bringing that total to over 4,500 since the pandemic began. Positivity rate currently sits at 18.1%. The WHO recommends that number remain below 5%. Matt.